out with You're That B. We're not going to say it. And I said, wow. Hey, I'm your host, Alexis.
And I'm your co-host, Drew.
Sit back and relax because you're
in good company.
Guys, this week's episode, when I tell you it's going to eat, I mean that. This is all about how to get your lip back and how comparison is the thief of joy. So if you're unfamiliar with the term get your lip back, you're probably definitely older than us. Respectfully, I love our older viewers. I love our older viewers. Or you're just like not in tune with, hip stuff, which is fine. That was me going to Urban Dictionary to look everything up in high school because I didn't know what people were talking about.
You know, you're so real for that.
No, I didn't know what we were talking about.
Thing in middle school.
I didn't know what we were talking about. But getting your lick back, essentially, Alexis' definition is getting back your swag. And let me go further into this. When you feel like you've lost like your cool factor, getting that back is essentially getting your lick back, getting your confidence back. I think
I was about to use the word confidence.
It's really getting your confidence back, feeling good about yourself. And obviously, we already know comparison is the thief of joy.
It's an old time lesson that we try to teach.
Yeah, but it's old for a reason because it's true.
Because it keeps coming back.
I fear they're right.
They kind of ate with that one.
So, okay, the reason I really want to talk about this and True automatically latched onto the topic was because recently, as you guys know, I'm in a new environment. I'm at a new school. And to put it lightly, I'm around a lot of, baddies. I'm around a lot of people who look good, are on top of their stuff. And honestly, it can be an overwhelming environment to be in, especially coming from a school where it's not that everyone wasn't on top of their stuff, but I think there was definitely less of it.
The bar wasn't as high.
No, not at all. It wasn't as much. It wasn't as in your face. And there was definitely people who were slacking. Not that people slacking make you feel better about yourself, but I guess it makes you feel like, okay, look at how much I'm doing, this and that. And now it's like, look how much I'm doing. Oh, look how much you're doing. And you can fall into this dangerous cycle of comparing. So tell me why you're feeling this, True. What's been going on with you?
Oh my goodness. So the reason why I was like, yo, I like this topic. I'm kind of going through something similar where I feel like I am still going through this. Back in, let's say, 3 semesters ago, I was talking to our good friend Mattia. And
Shout out to Mattia. Shout out to the episode about community college. If you haven't seen it, take a listen. It's a great episode.
But no, I was just talking to her one-on-one, and I was like, hey, I feel like I'm in my flop era.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, it's genuinely how I felt, and I don't feel as strongly as I did back then. About being in my flop era, but I still feel a tinge of it.
And can I say, in comparison, that's crazy because all those semesters ago, you were making amazing grades. You were looking good doing it.
Thank you.
That was probably when we were filming this podcast.
Yeah,
we were
a semester before. Yeah, actually, around that time.
You had a lot on your plate. I felt like you were doing great. So
thank you.
From the outside looking in, I really feel like you had it together. You had a job. You still have a job.
Correct.
Girl, please don't play. What do you mean flop error?
I guess my standard is that a lot of the people that I went to high school with back in the day, very high achieving, they are going to 4-year universities. Again, nothing wrong with community college. I stand by it. But there is that tiny voice in the back of my head kind of saying I could have achieved more. And, it pushed me down a little bit throughout community college because even now I feel like if I didn't come in with that mindset, I could have gotten more out of PG than what I actually did.
Oh, that's an interesting point. I think I do want to touch on how your own viewpoint can be extremely limiting. And I've talked about this, I feel like in past episodes, or this is just something that I live by. I feel to this very day, and I think maybe it was the community college episode, I was so focused on what I felt like my life needed to look like that I was unable to take advantage of what was right in front of me. And I really did limit myself, and then I came to BG and I was trying to break out of that limiter, and I feel like I did a good job doing that. And then at my new school, I feel like I was limiting myself once again. I was trying to put myself out there, but it can be hard, it can be overwhelming. And now I feel like I'm starting to get my footing or whatnot, but it's very easy to fall into. Just like that, you're what am I doing? Like, what?
Yeah, the
really, what am I
mentality
doing?
is so easy to fall into, and like, I think being able to pull yourself out of that kind of marks a strong character trait of
Oh my
yours.
goodness, can I say the song "Jealousy, Jealousy" by Olivia Rodrigo,
Girl,
perfectly encapsulate this feeling.
Facts.
Like literally,
I literally was just listening to it while I was thinking of stuff.
and
for
I know
our
that's so real
podcast.
because this episode, like this line right here, this line gets me. Their win is not my loss. I know it's true, but I can't help getting caught up in all. Co-comparison is killing me slowly. I think that's so true. That line right there completely encapsulates the feeling of other people succeeding in life is not me losing in life. But you can't help feel like there's only so many opportunities and I am missing out on what I could have.
Yeah.
And I think that is like the realest thing ever. I'm sorry I butchered your lyrics, Olivia, but I love you. You ate that up. Like,
Yes.
you really ate that up.
Like, and her album is very much teenagehood-esque, but I feel like this theme really goes with anybody at any stage in their life.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like you feeling that kind of comparison, feeling that kind of jealousy, right? It is outside of your age. It is more your mentality.
Heavy on that. And I will say, I think it's so much easier to ignore feeling like you're not doing as well as others when it's online. Because theoretically, you can be like, I don't know their full life story. I don't know everything they're going through. I can turn my phone off. But when it's right in front of your face, when it's your peers that you're surrounded by who are doing extremely well for themselves, you start to be like, it's everywhere. Like, it's literally, it's not just people who, you know, have completely different backgrounds than me, which your peers could, but essentially, like, we're all in the same place, and look at the opportunities they have been able to take advantage of, and I haven't. When we're in the exact same position theoretically, and I think that is very interesting. I will say there's a lot of high achievers, and I like being around people who are high achievers, but it also makes me feel like, am I achieving enough?
I think putting yourself in that position is such like a powerful place to be, because you've always hear like leaders say you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You want to learn from the people above you.
Right.
You want to, you know, put yourself in challenging spaces where you know these people will push you to become a better version of yourself. So I think it's great that you're in that kind of position, but the whole mentality of it is really rough during that time.
Heavy. I will say, I think I started to, in a sense, pull myself out of it when I really felt at new school I'm at, I was really looking at everyone around me, and I said, wow, like this is really cool to be around all these people, but I feel like I'm not presenting my best self. Like, I want to switch that, but it also felt very difficult to pull myself out of, I guess, kind of the hole I was stuck in. And guys, I love fall. I love dressing for fall. But one thing I felt like, I was like, my outfits aren't looking that good. Like, my hair's not looking that good. Like, how do I switch this up? And I said, let me go back to what I know. I went through my closet. I'm like, let me just do a very fall-esque outfit. And the very next day, I said, I'm getting my lick back. I get stopped on the street by this girl who looks mad cool. And she was like, I have my headphones on, cool girl era. And she's like, I love your outfit. And then she follows up with, you're that B. We're not going to say it. And I said, wow. I said the previous day, I said, I'm getting my lick back. I'm snatching it back from you. And the very next day, a cool girl on the street, a random stranger, says, you're that B. And I really felt like it that entire day. And that outfit ate. It ate down. Tragically, there aren't, 30 photos in it because... That's
you lived your life.
That's what hurt the most.
Yeah.
I wanted 30 photos of that fit, but it's okay. She will be reworn. It's like it never happened. But like, truthfully, as soon as I shifted my mindset, people saw it. Like, they could. It's almost like it was being received.
Yeah.
And I will say, I've been definitely, as I say, I love fall. Fall colors look amazing on me. I've been wearing more fall-esque outfits, and I've been getting compliments from people, and it feels nice. Not that I need their validation, but to just remind me of what I should have already known about myself.
Yeah. And also, I think being in that community that you are in, you're there because you deserve to be there too.
And I think that's an amazing way to put it,
and
truly.
It helps reframe where you're like, I am good enough to be in this space where I will, even if I don't feel enough right now, I will grow even more in this space. This space is so open and they've accepted me because they see something.
I think that's
and keep pushing.
Yeah, I think that's a beautiful way to put it. I will say, I went to a meeting and it was all these different people who have the same interests as me. So it was like an acting S meeting, and there was potential filmmakers. There's people who are filmmakers and actors, and I was just introducing myself, and it was crazy because we had this little worksheet. So it was kind of like, you know, a way to get us to talk to one another. It was like a bingo card. So we're going around trying to find different things about different people, and I end up hooking up with somebody who is prospective filmmaker. So like, you know, trying to get into it. And I was like, okay, super dope. And we were messaging and he was like, oh, I think you'd be good for this role. And I'm like, oh, like, thank you. I'm like, well, what about it, like, you know, made you think that? And he was like, when you introduced yourself, you said, I'm an actor. You didn't like hesitate when you said it. And you said it with such confidence. I was like, yeah, like, I really like that. And I was like, I remember looking back, I was telling my mom, I said, I don't even remember saying that. And I think it's just something that's so like instilled in who I am as a person, or how I feel like I am. I'm like, your confidence really shows. Essentially, he was like, you were so confident in that part of your identity that other people, you know, I guess feel shaky on, that I was like, there was something that I wanted to work with you. And I was like, wow, you don't even know how you come across the people. Like, you genuinely don't know how you come across as people. And I was at the same meeting and this girl had the coolest outfit on. And I'm talking to her and she's like, no, you're like me in a different like font. And she was so nice. She's like, let me get your Instagram. And I'm like, you're asking for my Instagram? I'm usually asking for yours. And I said, you never know how you're being perceived. I remember I was like, my outfit's like not that cute that day, this and that. You never know. Like, you really never know. And I will say shout out to all these different people that I'm meeting who I think are help building back what I should. As I say, you should know this about yourself, but it's okay to falter. It's okay to lose sight of who you feel like you are as a person, because new situations can make you feel unstable. Like, that's just life.
That's a part of it. Like, new situations are new because you've never experienced that kind of situation before.
Have y'all not?
And it's the way where you come back to yourself and you realize, hey, I am such and such, and you will move forward with that stronger than before. Because that trait of yours, that value of yours was tested, and you passing that test is, you know, overcoming that situation.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. And Truk, I want to know, has there ever been like a time where you were feeling like, I guess, unbalanced or like uncertain, and something kind of like shifted your perspective?
Oh, for sure. I mean, the most recent one is straight up at PG, and like,
shout out.
Always character development arc, for real.
No,
for
literally,
real. Like I came here, I was lost. Everybody had a path, and I came here not knowing what I was doing, what I was going to study, what kind of communities I wanted to join. There was no game plan besides I will be taking classes A and B. And me coming here, not having a single path, and exploring my options, and realizing that I could fall back on the fact that I know that I'm a person who always wants to do something. I'm not going to do nothing. I don't like doing nothing. And that mentality of like, oh yeah, I am a person that will always do something. And I found things to do at PG that I liked and I loved, and I got to meet a lot of people, made me realize, hey, yes, you don't have a pathway at the moment, but trust in yourself that you can push through it.
Oh my goodness, can I like bounce off that? Because you made me think about the fact that I really feel like when you follow your passions, you find your people and you kind of find yourself again. I think my biggest thing is every time I feel like lost or uncertain, or just kind of like almost like you're underwater, like trying to get back up, if I follow what I love doing, and if I follow like the different interests I have, I usually find a community, and I find myself finding myself again, like essentially, like, and it's always worked for me. So that's why I'm such a big like advocator of, when you are in a new space, find a group of people you relate with, and the easiest way to do that is to join a club. Like, I really feel like the easiest way to do that, if you're like in a school setting, is to, and even if you're not and you're grown, like, I guess go on Facebook and find it. There are Facebook groups though. Like, that's Facebook a real groups, sense of community.
Facebook group, volunteer groups. There's a lot of like new apps coming out about, you know, young people trying to gather up and create book clubs, hiking clubs, social clubs.
And I think that's amazing. Like,
in adulthood. And I think, you know, we kind of really lack that kind of because system in place.
I was saying, so many people talk about the fact that after you leave college, that community is gone. And being at my new college, I'm not even living on campus, but I live close enough to campus to like feel the community aspect, and you really do. It's kind of like a bubble. Like, you're just around the same people, and you're all eating the same food, and you're all doing like these different club activities, and you see each other around campus, and you start to build up like a genuine relationship. And it's so curious, and I can't imagine how disorienting it can be to leave that and go your separate ways and, you know, struggle for trying to find a community, and it's just not there because that's not how the U.S. is set up, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you found it, and, you know, I feel like it's kind of our responsibility to build and reshape our own community and share that with others. Heavy
on that. I completely agree, and I think it's kind of funny because we talked about this in our episode about community.
Literally the last episode, no?
I don't think it was our last. It was like a few episodes before. Yeah, because our last episode was on stereotyping. And we ate that little self-promo.
Check out our last episode.
Yes, check it out. But I do feel you are right on the nose. And I will say a lot of people are incredible at masking how they feel. And masking, I guess, even how well or not well they're doing for others. But you can tell, I think it kind of like shines from the outward in when you just have like genuine confidence in the decisions you're making and what you're doing. And people can see that. And people almost gravitate towards it. And I like that. But also it's like, dang, it's sad that so many of us are masking just to get through the day. Like, that's the sad reality, but it's real. And it can be very isolating to feel compared to other people you are just not doing as well, especially if you're in a space where you feel like you should be taking advantage of things and it's almost like you're mentally incapable of doing it. I feel like people don't talk about the struggles of like mental health. I think aligns with that, like being in spaces and not doing as well can be tied to your mental health, and you shouldn't be blaming. I have a friend who recently started taking ADHD pills, and she was like, girl, you don't know how much I was actually struggling. Like, I didn't know how much I was struggling. She's like, I didn't know life could be this easy and that people were living this way. And I was just working with what I had the whole time, thinking this is as good as it gets. And I think that really put it into perspective.
You know, that story is really common. I've been seeing a lot of ADHD people share their stories of how they felt like they haven't been enough this entire time, when in reality, they just didn't have the resources to be
heavy on that,
like, normal functioning.
And in a sense, no, I was thinking compared to others, they see the ease in which something is done and are frustrated with themselves and not knowing that they are doing probably twice as much work because they are fighting an internal battle that they can't put a name to. And I think that's like the real, like, I have a lot of admiration because it's insane. Like, y'all brains work completely differently in a sense, but you're still trying to go with the flow of things.
Yeah.
And most of y'all are doing it, but also it's a lot harder. You know, like, lives are a lot more difficult for it. So that's why I'm always so happy when people are like, I was able to get medication, and now I see like my life is easier in certain aspects because life is hard enough, and I don't really think anybody should have to make it harder for what they're experiencing. But I guess you never really know until you know, right? Because so many people have like undiagnosed.
There are plenty of cases of undiagnosed people.
I mean, we could be undiagnosed. I don't know.
I'm dead.
I don't know. Like, I'm never gonna say no because I feel like people feel like it looks a certain way, and you don't really know how it looks because it shows differently in everybody. But I think there's just a lot of aspects to, you know, comparing yourself to others, and there can be a lot of things underneath it.
For sure. There's so many variables that come in to make you feel like you're not enough, make you feel like you're not performing to a certain standard. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think get your lick back is just believing in yourself and finding the resources that you specifically need to get yourself out there.
100%. And I will say, I think advice I'd give, I've already kind of mentioned it, definitely finding your community. If you are around our age, the easiest way is via joining clubs or just joining groups outside of school. I know even church can be like a really good place to find community. So like, that's my number one tip, like, for sure. And then also investing time into yourself. I think you can feel better about yourself if you are putting your effort into something that you're passionate about and seeing yourself grow and get better within this skill that you really want to, I guess, be good at. Or not even, you don't even have to be good at it. If it brings you joy, I think invest your time in it. I think too often we are investing our time in things because we feel they need to be done, whether that is a degree or a job. And to an extent, they do need to be done. So finding time for yourself is key, like finding those little moments. And then you could gain a lot of confidence. Like, y'all, if I could sew like some of y'all, my head would be so inflated. Me, every time I finish a knit project, I really ate that up.
Yes.
So I would say that's my biggest tip. Do you have any tips for people, Truk?
Actually, it was really interesting. I recently saw this video of, some YouTubers reflecting over the past 10 years of their time on YouTube. And they were like, it's really important to enter a space with, you don't have to have a strong self-identity, but a certain degree of self-identity. And once you have that to lean back on, you can push yourself forward with that. Because the internet is a crazy place, and if you kind of go with what everybody says, it's difficult to really appease to everything. And if you enter a space with your own self-identity, that is what brings you forward. That's what takes you further.
Ooh, that is so real. And I will say, people who are able to sustain themselves on the internet for that long are very impressive to me without being like weird. Oh my gosh, guys, my camera's about to die, so we're about to wrap up. Okay, guys. Well, those were our last thoughts. Let's do our little bits. I'm going to say my song today is definitely Jealousy by Olivia Rodrigo, because it perfectly encapsulates this feeling. So that's my bit. What about you, Truk?
So, fun fact, I am now off of TikTok.
Oh my goodness. She's off social media actually completely at this point.
So I'm off of TikTok now, but speaking of like finding your self-identity again and being back in your era, in your self-confident self, Inside Out 2, when Riley, she had a strong self-identity, that she had a good family, she really liked hockey, she was a good person. It really reflected in the movie.
Also, that she was good at hockey. I think
she
that's
was good
big.
at hockey.
And now she was around people who were even better than her, and she's like, am I not that B no more?
Right, like she enters a bigger pond. And she's like, yo, I gotta, get up, get better, and like really match up with all of these new fishes. And the whole movie kind of takes her through a character arc of, finding herself again after making a ton of mistakes, trying to like feel out the new environment. But at the end of the day, you fall back on your community, you fall back on your strong self-identity, and that is what pushes you to grow. And being a small fish in a new, bigger pond doesn't make you any less. You are in this pond now, and you can grow into that big fish. So
that was beautifully said, and I love how that was your original thought.
It was.
Nothing else inspired you for that idea.
Of course, yes. 100%.
But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this week's episode.
We want to give a shout out to
Bobby and shout out to the Humanities Department. And shout out to you guys, the viewers, because you watch every week.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And
we'll see you next Thursday.